Good morning, everybody. My name is Louise Eddington. I'm the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology, and I'm bringing you a quick video today to look at the chaos in the US Congress. Why is it in such chaos? Well, it's easily explainable astrologically. So before I dive in, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I'm going to be doing more of these kind of just very quick pop-up videos and things as I grow my YouTube channel this year. So let's dive in, okay? So I'm using the Sibley chart for this. I know there's disagreement amongst astrologers about which chart is the most important, is the correct one. But the Sibley chart is the most commonly used, and much of what I'm talking about is works with the Sibley chart, and also a lot of the things I'm talking about apply no matter what chart you use, because we're talking about bigger transits to planets. So here we are today. Yesterday, clearly the Congress, the 118th Congress was supposed to be sworn in, and that starts with a vote for the Speaker of the House. Well, after 3 votes, we still do not have a speaker. We have 19 or 20 holdout Republicans who are refusing to vote for Kevin McCarthy, yet really kind of refusing to say what they do want. Lauren Boebert is saying that she wants, for her, it's her holdout is for Jim Jordan, and also for I can't remember the term, but she wants a vote for saying that vacate the seat or vacate the chair. She wants to be able to vote to vacate the chair at any point, which would cause chaos as well. But anyway, she said that's her hard line for this vote, and McCarthy has not given her that. But anyway, let's dive into the astrology, just to say it's chaos until a speaker is sworn in, and Congress, the House, can do nothing. They can't create committees, they can't nominate committee chairs, they can't start, you know, nothing, no business can be done until this is completed. So it's kind of chaotic, it's kind of popcorn worthy, but it's also quite dangerous for democracy, really. It's being held to ransom by so few people. But let's not dive into that. On January the 3rd was when, about 12 p.m. was when the vote started, and all the chaos started. At that point, the sun, the Capricorn sun, and we are heading into a full moon as I record this. There's going to be a full moon on January the 6th. And of course, January the 6th is the memorable date, so that's kind of got something to do with it. But the sun was at 13 degrees Capricorn, opposing the sun of the USA as all these votes were going off. So immediately we have this opposition to the founding of the USA. The sun is the core of any chart, and it was at 13 degrees Cancer on July the 4th, 1776, no matter what time you use. So that's number one. The second thing that we have going on is that as Congress opened to start electing, the moon, which was not out of bounds at that point. No, it was not out of bounds at that point. Oh, bear with me. No, I can't. Anyway. The moon was conjunct Mars, and Mars is not only retrograde, but is out of bounds, and is going to be out of bounds till around midnight on May the 4th to the 5th, depending where you are. So Mars is going to be out of bounds for a long time, and Mars is retrograde and stationed retrograde back in October at 25 degrees Gemini. But right now, Mars is slowing down to station direct on January the 12th, which is only well, as I speak, 8 days away, and is on the Uranus of the USA. And Uranus is kind of chaotic energy anyway. It's the Lord of lightning bolts, it's shocks, it's surprises, it's and then Mars in Gemini is very out of bounds anyway, action. And then the moon also went out of bounds after this. So in later Gemini, the moon goes out of bounds as well. I'm not going to go to exact points. So we had this kind of kicking it off. And Mars is going to station direct at 8 degrees of Gemini. So we've got that. We've got Mars sticking on the Uranus of the USA, but there's more. And I look a little bit ahead. I don't see this chaos really ending anytime soon. Okay, so just to say that. Also, of course, we are finishing. We're still under the Pluto return. Okay, but then I'm going to go to today. So we're on January the 4th. Congress has just opened again. I'm going to watch as soon as I finish this video. We see Mars, of course, still at the 8 degree mark, going to be there for quite some time on the Uranus of the USA, causing discord and chaos and anger and harsh words. Honestly, some of the interviews with some of the players in this, we've had Marjorie Taylor Greene raging about the 1920 Republicans that won't vote for McCarthy. We've got the 1920 holdouts raging against McCarthy. It's just absolute chaos. But look at where we are today. The moon is now out of bounds, and the moon today is coming up to conjunct the Mars of the USA by transit, and both of them are out of bounds. The moon is out of bounds on the USA's Mars. I beg your pardon. Actually, the USA's Mars is itself out of bounds, and in back to the 4th, and in the sign of Gemini anyway, which is kind of chaotic energy anyway. And this is all in the house of open enemies. So, the enemies of the people are kind of coming out. A lot of the holdouts to McCarthy's speakership are people who asked for pardons after the January the 6th insurrection. And anyway, you get the idea. Very problematic. So let's look at when the moon will exactly be conjunct. So at 4 p.m. Eastern today, the moon will exactly be conjunct Mars. I'm kind of trying to follow some of this on Twitter as well as do some work. But there's talk that because McCarthy couldn't get a deal, he's going to kind of just shelve everything till tomorrow and not go through more votes. He's holding out. He's saying he's not going to back down. He's not going to back out of the race. Now there's other people coming forward suggesting that there's one representative, a Republican, who reckons that if the Democrats would back him, then he would seat equal Democrats and equal Republicans on all the committees. But he hasn't committed to anything about the chairs. And also, whilst he's supposedly more moderate, he also voted in alignment with Donald Trump in Donald Trump's presidency. So again, chaos, chaos, chaos. Now, adding to all of this, Black Moon Lilith is coming up to the USA's Mercury to add a little bit more chaos into the mix. But why I don't think this is going anytime soon. So let's look at the full moon for a start. So on the anniversary of January the 6th, on Friday, we have a full moon at 16 Capricorn, and the moon will be at 16 Cancer, only 3 degrees away from the USA's sun, and the sun will be over here at 16 Capricorn. But this is conjunct Mercury, and Pallas Athena is coming up and about to conjunct the moon. And on my podcast for the Cancer full moon, I called Off With Their Heads. Now, Pallas Athena is very much associated with justice. Her energy is that of seeing the big picture and the patterns, but she is very much associated with the scales of justice. I kind of tend to call her Venus squared, because the symbol is, this is Venus with the cross of matter, the circle of spirit. This is the cross of matter and a diamond on the top, or a square. She's a bit harder edge. She's a bit more hard line. She's saying, no, this is not the law. This is not justice. I'm bringing justice. So that's going to be very interesting. And Mercury being conjunct the sun is very interesting in the first house, very close to the cusp of the second house, the self-esteem and self-worth of the USA. So then the Sun and Mercury will be conjunct. We're going to get a cazimi on the 7th, okay, at 16 Capricorn. At that point, the moon will, still out of bounds, by the way, the moon stays out of bounds. We're still under the full moon, heightened energy with Mercury retrograde. The moon will be on Mercury. So, and Mercury is the voice, communication, and so on, and chaos again. All right. So, this is just such chaotic energy. Then we'll get Mars stationing direct. So I cannot see kind of really an end to this. And I've seen several tweets from non-astrologers just saying, this chaos is just the start of the chaos. The Republican Party is in disarray. Really, the country is in disarray because of this, because they have the majority in the House. The Senate is just getting on with its business right now. But anyway, Mars will station direct on January the 12th at 8 degrees and 7 minutes of Gemini, conjunct that Uranus. And still out of bounds, right? Remember, till May 4th, 5th. So January the 12th. Then on the 18th, Mercury will station direct at 8 degrees and 8 minutes. So remember, Mars stationed direct at 8 degrees and 7 minutes, but he's still at 8 degrees. Well, look at this. I was like, oh, Mercury is stationing direct on the 18th, exactly conjunct Eris in Capricorn, in the first house of the USA. And the first house is I am, my identity, what the face I put out there. And of course, Eris is the shit stirrer, the goddess of discord. She threw the apple in that led to the fall of Troy, caused the Trojan War. She didn't cause it, but she kind of caused the fight that caused the Trojan War. And then I'm just going to draw a line on this. So 8 degrees to 8 degrees to 8 degrees. Already we've got Uranus and Eris in a quincunx. But Mars is in the Mercury-ruled sign of Gemini, which is a chaotic sign anyway, because it's very scattered and it can see both sides, and it's about community and ideas and thoughts and voice and what people are saying and speaking. And that's in the 6th house of daily routines and organization. So we've got chaos in the organization. And all of this is in this quincunx aspect, which is a very awkward aspect anyway, that causes major discord and needs for big adjustment. So we've got Mercury, Uranus, which is kind of rebels, and rebels with or without a cause. So we could see it as the GOP rebels really kind of stepping up, and Mars, they're stepping up very aggressively and assertively. And Mercury over here is stationing direct on Eris, the shit stirrer. This is kind of quite dangerous territory, I'm going to say, for the USA. Whilst, you know, my Gemini moon is kind of enjoying this kind of energy, it's kind of not great. And then after that, Mars is still, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to stop the share. Mars is still out of bounds, okay, till May the 4th. So we're up to January the 18th. Incidentally, though, this could also be major news. You know, through this period, major news regarding chickens coming home to roost and so on as well. But let's look at when Mars comes back to conjunct the USA's Mars. He'll still be out of bounds. Oh, goodness me, what a time. Mars will move back into the house of open enemies and will not conjunct the Mars of the USA again after the retrograde until March the 6th, and Mars is still well out of bounds at that point. So this is just kind of crazy stuff. All right. Meanwhile, Pluto does start to move off the Pluto of the USA. So I do kind of feel like we're in this position of really kind of the chaos is going to kind of settle at some point, but when, I do not know. Oh, incidentally as well, I forgot to mention that today, as I record this on January the 4th, the moon is at 21 Gemini on the Mars. It's square to Neptune, which was at 22, which is still opposing the Neptune of the USA. And that is pure chaos. Okay, so this is just why everything's in chaos. So I'm just going to take things a little bit forward again. On March the 31st, Mars, still out of bounds, is going to conjunct the Venus of the USA. At that point, Mercury has moved way forward and is actually heading towards its next retrograde in Taurus, but we won't look at that just yet. And then, so Mars out of bounds on the Venus of the USA values Mars and Venus, more chaos in the 7th house of open enemies. Then Jupiter, Mars will hit Jupiter on April the 6th. Mars still out of bounds. And then Mars will hit the Sun of the USA on the April the 20th, still out of bounds. Okay. And then when does Mars hit? Actually, let's have a look when Mars will get the Mercury of the USA. He'll be back in bounds by the time Mars gets to Mercury. And then Mars comes up to oppose Pluto. And by that point, Pluto will have moved into Aquarius for his first visit into Aquarius. He's actually going to retrograde back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius 2 or 3 times. Things might start to settle down when Mars goes back into bounds. Now, what out of bounds means is he's acting eccentrically. And so this is really eccentric behavior, and it's going to continue, I'm afraid. I do want to look at one last thing, and you know, I didn't intend this to be a real but Mercury will station retrograde again on May the 14th. And in Taurus, Venus ruled Taurus and will hit the North Node. And this is in the 5th house, which is really the natural house of Leo, kind of the rulership. So we're going to see. I don't think McCarthy is going to be speaker. I don't know how it's going to end up, but we'll see. It's so chaotic. It's really hard to predict. But I just kind of wanted to give you a kind of an, well, not only a heads up about how the chaos is going to continue. Incidentally, there's other things going on as well. Not least of all, Uranus stationing direct on January the 22nd in aspect to the USA's Sun. there's way more I could say, but as if this is not enough. This Mars really is kind of where it's at, and the fact that it's in aspect to where Mercury will also station in retrograde. Mercury itself is the shapeshifter, is kind of a bit of a magician, but also a chaos agent. In the tarot, that it's the magician card, the kind of juggling all the elements and things, but that can be both good and bad. It can feel very chaotic times, interesting times. So I hope you enjoyed just this quick overview, and please leave me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel while you're here. Now I'm going to go and watch the vote.